or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA? Nothing else?
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, because you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
Demetrious Johnson versus Henry Cejudo 2 is close to being finalized for UFC 227, and aren't you guys excited? Me either. I don't know what it is, but I'm not excited about Demetrious Johnson versus Henry Cejudo 2. Luckily for us, it's going to be on a great card, so we're probably going to end up watching it anyway because it's going to likely be coming on right before TJ Dillashaw Cody Garbrandt 2, which is, in my mind, going to be a better fight just because, for one, the rivalry, you know, those guys really don't like each other between TJ Garbrandt and Cody Dillashaw. Also, the first fight was a lot closer than Henry Cejudo versus Demetrious Johnson 2, which in the first fight, Demetrious Johnson essentially destructed Henry Cejudo and TKO'd him, I believe, in the first or second round. So for one, this is a rematch we already kind of saw from Demetrious Johnson, and for two, once our hype was built up for TJ Dillashaw versus Demetrious Johnson, it's kind of hard to get excited for any other Demetrious Johnson fights when you know what's out there, right? We could have saw Demetrious Johnson potentially fighting another champion, but for whatever reason, negotiations were stalled and we're left with these two fights. Now, it's interesting because these two fights are on the same card. So hopefully, possibly, if we're lucky, and there's a lot that has to happen. For one, Demetrious Johnson has to win his fight, and for two, I guess TJ Dillashaw would have to beat Cody Garbrandt. I was going to say, because the super fight's still on the table. They're fighting on the same card, so if Demetrious Johnson can get a win, he could still very well fight the bantamweight champion next. But the thing is, if Cody Garbrandt wins, then we're probably looking at a trilogy. But if TJ Dillashaw actually was able to beat Cody Garbrandt again, then we could still be looking at this super fight in the future. But as of right now, we're looking at this rematch between Johnson and Cejudo. This was reported by Ariel Helwani. He said the UFC is close to finalizing Demetrious Johnson versus Henry Cejudo 2 for UFC 227 in LA on August 4th. Sources say not officially signed yet, but very much moving in that direction. For those hoping for a fresh matchup, Jussier Formiga's name has definitely come up for DJ, I'm told. Cejudo was the top choice after Dillashaw fight didn't materialize. Again, not done yet, but that's the fight all parties want for 8-4. Just a couple small hurdles. Now, Jussier Formiga is a guy for sure that if he would have got the title shot, it would have been a fresh name. But I mean, Henry Cejudo, you know, he's an Olympian, gold medal, so I'm assuming he's probably got more, and he's a higher ranked fighter, so he's probably got more of a case for a title shot. I know it shouldn't matter, like, you know, your popularity, but hey, this is the UFC. This is 2018, motherfucker. It's the Ultimate Fighting Circus. So if you're a more popular fighter, chances are you're probably going to get a title shot sooner. Now, Henry Cejudo is definitely not the most popular guy out there, right? But when it comes to Jussier Formiga, a lot of you guys might not even know who Jussier Formiga is. Although he did pick up a nice win, I believe, over Ben 10, if I'm not mistaken. Jussier Formiga got a nice win that put him in title contention. But still, Henry Cejudo is the #1, #2 contender. He's coming off of a very impressive win. Who did Henry Cejudo just beat? It was Sergio Pettis at UFC 218, and that was a very impressive performance by Henry Cejudo. Before that, Henry Cejudo was coming off of another win over Wilson Hayes. That was the one I was actually thinking of, though. Wilson Hayes, I believe Henry Cejudo knocked out in the first round. It was a very impressive knockout. And before that, hell, Henry Cejudo fought a split decision. Actually, it might have been unanimous, but honestly, it was a loss for Henry Cejudo. But if you were watching the fight, you probably thought Cejudo won. It was a robbery, I felt like. Henry Cejudo got robbed against Joseph Benavidez, but it is what it is. Now he's on a 2-fight winning streak since losing those 2 fights, one to Demetrious Johnson, and then that controversial loss to Joseph Benavidez. But Henry Cejudo, I feel like, is probably the clear-cut #2 fighter in the flyweight division, considering Joseph Benavidez did beat him, but as I said, it was questionable, and also since then Joseph Benavidez has been out. So with that being said, in the meantime, Henry Cejudo has been picking up W's. He got that win over Wilson Hayes, very impressive. Sergio Pettis, another. And now it looks like we might be seeing him get another title shot. But with all that being said, man, it's going to be a cool fight. You know, at least we got another title fight for UFC 227. I'm not this is not what I'm hanging my hat on. You know, if I'm getting hyped for UFC 227, it's definitely not because of this fight. This is just like, you know, an add-on, right? There was talks of like fucking Nate Diaz versus GSP on this card. There was, you know, interim title between Rockhold and Gustafsson. Well, not interim title according to Dana White, but there's been some talks for some pretty big fights for UFC 227 in LA. Maybe we don't get Nate Diaz versus GSP, but hell, hopefully we can get a Diaz brother. I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens. You know, we got Nick going through his situation, Nate sitting out. But hey, man, we got Johnson versus Cejudo too. You know what I'm saying? On top of Garbrandt versus Dillashaw too, which I'm a lot more excited for. But I mean, there's other fights to, you know, to be excited about. Like we got Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr. taking on Derek Brunson at UFC 227. I wouldn't be surprised if the card actually turns out to be, you know, somewhat stacked. But I don't see too many casual fans getting excited for this fight in particular. But with that being said, man, it is what it is. And actually, before we get out of here, this fight was reported a long time ago. Some of you guys might remember, man, I'm talking months ago. Cejudo versus Johnson 2. I believe Henry Cejudo's manager announced this like 2 to 3 months ago. But, you know, it got kind of shot down a little bit. I think that was even before fucking Dillashaw versus Garbrandt 2 was announced. So it looks like whoever reported this like 3 to 4 months ago might have been on to something. But hey, man, other than that, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think about Demetrious Johnson versus Henry Cejudo 2 in the comments. And as always, thanks for checking out this video. If you're new or if you're just slip or slacking on your pimping, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to help support this independent channel, you can either click the PayPal button in the description or you can go to patreon.com/fulltimemma and consider becoming a patron. I'm out.
This is #1 bullshit.